call it to order if you want.
He said he forgot all about it. He's coming by 4th Street now, so he'll be here in a minute.
Okay, well, I'll go over the health insurance, you wanna call it to order?
I will call the insurance meeting to order at 18:04.
Okay, this is your insurance committee. I received the, health insurance renewal rate. If you look at the first page that I've given you, it's kind of a comparison of what we're currently paying. And so there's a 5% proposed increase. Last year, we didn't have an increase at all. 2 years ago, it was a quite significant increase, so this is not, it's not too terribly bad. I think it's just across the board. She didn't say anything was major and significant. I have it broken out how the town pays for insurance now, and I had showed it to Philip, and he agrees, you know, that we really like to pay the 100% of the 1,000 deductible premium for the employee, and then we pay half of the family, and then if people want to buy up, they can. So you can also see the overall increase of the premium is 5%. The employer will roughly pay $35 more depending on the plan, and the employee increase, that's all broken out on that table. The total town increase monthly is $2,300. Total yearly is roughly $28 for the town's impact. That doesn't take into account, and that's based on enrollment figures as of today. Of course, that could change. The employees do have an option to, this includes health, vision, and dental. It's all included. They do have an option to just do preventative dental, and I think that's about like a $10 decrease for them. But when you look at it across, I mean, the coverage for the dental is, I think everybody's opted to stay with the full dental, but they do have that option as well, and I did not reflect that there. You can see that premium price on the next page. This is the local choices breakdown. But with health insurance, I would need you guys, if you agree with the breakout and you agree with the 5%, Philip and I talked about, of course, it's too late to bid it out because it is a very lengthy bidding process, and we've been with TLC for a long time, and this doesn't seem like a bad increase. I would need a recommendation and then an approval at the next council meeting, because I have to let them know by April 1st, because then we do open enrollment in May for the July renewal. It's about some time. Do you guys have any questions about the insurance, or?
No, I recommend that it stay, so.
Second that.
Good.
Do you recommend renewing
Yes.
as is and how the
Yes.
town pays for the benefits?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The fire department life insurance, I think you guys heard about this before December when we were trying to renew the vehicle and the accidental loss. We had saved a lot of money, when we switched to Chesterfield Insurers, but we had asked for it in December, I think, for the life insurance for the members, and it's just life insurance. It doesn't matter if a garage door hits them at home. It doesn't have to be line of duty, but Philip had asked for us to look into it more. And I think what Dion, we're trying to do is put it in your budget. So it would be on a different cycle than his vehicle insurance. I would say a July policy, right, July 1. He has met with Chesterfield Insurers, and they've discussed it in depth. So he is here to talk, if you guys have any questions, and he can kind of tell you about the policy, and Dion can tell you why he likes it. But I think we're trying to get you guys to approve it, so we can just stick it in the budget and go with it, right? Yeah, I can just, it's recording, so I can do better minutes, if I can hear you.
I understand. Hi, I'm Kevin Duck from Chesterfield Insurers. What this is comparable to your group life insurance you would get through your employer at work. Many years ago, we had agencies that were asking us for something that they could use for recruitment and retention within their agencies to help attract. And obviously, this is not something that pays back the volunteer because they have to be no longer with us, but it's for their family if something happens. And what this is, it's just like group insurance at work. There's no age limits. There's no medicals. Basically, when you get it, you give us a list of the qualified members. You know, some departments, if you have probationary members, they don't include them in because you have to kind of work into it just like you would as an employer. But you give us a list of your active members you want covered, and for $129 per member, they get the life insurance. And the life insurance, it's a $10,000 benefit for a natural death. You just don't wake up tomorrow, the family gets $10,000. If it's an accidental death, they're on the way to Walmart and a car hits them, it's a $20,000 benefit. If it's a line of duty death, it's a $30,000 benefit. And that would be in addition to other line of duty benefits that they would obviously be eligible for. The nice thing about this benefit and the line of duty benefit that comes with the accident health insurance is it pays out pretty quick. Most of these, and we've had a ton of them, unfortunately, we've had to pay out, but they're paid out to the family within 30 days of us getting the paperwork in, which obviously helps families with final expenses and that kind of thing. Like I say, there's no age limit, so if you have a 100-year-old life member, they're eligible. There's no medicals involved. There's actually some other benefits built into it. We actually had a member from one of the volunteer companies in Hampton that died in a traffic accident a few months ago, and he was wearing a seatbelt and he had airbags. So his family actually got $35,000 because it was $10,000 for the death, another $10,000 because it was an accident, another $10,000 because he had his seatbelts on, and another $5,000 because the airbags went off. So there's a lot built into this. There's a couple of things that we call incidental benefits. There's some travel benefits. There's some medical benefits if you're traveling more than, I think it's 2,000 miles from home. If you're out of country, something like that, obviously your Blue Cross Blue Shield might not help. There's some benefits for medical if you happen to be stranded somewhere. There's an employee benefit plan where if somebody's having some mental health issues, some work issues, they can call into a 800 number and get some help and get a referral somewhere else if they need it. I call those incidental because in 6 years of us doing this, I've never known anybody to use any of those benefits. They're just tacked onto it. But the main thing is that life insurance, and we have paid out a lot of benefits, and it's been very helpful for departments to use as something saying, well, you know, obviously you're not going to collect it, but we're going to look. I had agencies that actually, I guess they had a lot of money and they had members that died, and they would actually make like $2,000 contributions to a family out of their department treasury if something happened. And now with this, for the $129 investment, they're able to make a $10,000 contribution more or less to the families, which what they're doing. So it's a very generous program. The members are able to assign their own beneficiaries. I have this at my department. We actually had a life member very well off. His kids didn't need anything else, he said, so when we gave him the beneficiary form, he actually left the money to the fire department. We had an old antique truck that he'd been after us to get painted, so we actually are painting that truck now in his honor with the money that he left us. So it's a really great program. $129, you're locked into that rate for 3 years, so you don't have to worry about, well, next year it's going to skyrocket if we have a claim. That rate stays the same for 3 years. They've never had an increase for the 6 years we've been selling it, other than 1 year that employee assistance, it's like $2, so it went up 1 year because they added that to it, just automatically kind of thing. You only have to provide us a census once at the beginning of the year, and that's what your premium is based off of. 25 members times 129. If you have members that become qualified during the year, they're automatically covered until the next census when you would add them on. If you have members that leave during the year, there's no refund because, you know, they're giving you credit when you bring, it's supposed to all work out in the wash, I guess is the way they look at it. So when you pay the 129 times so many members, that's it for that year. And then next year you send us a new census, and if you've gone down to 20, that's 129 times 20. So.
I did want to ask you, because I think it was brought up at the council meeting, well, since we saved on the auto, why don't we just save it, and if somebody passes away, we can pay out of our reserves, kind of what you were saying. But can you explain to us the benefits of you guys managing it for us? I don't believe Dion and I really want to get in the minutia, something an accident or something natural, I don't know how the town would.
Right. Well, I guess the big thing is and one of the story of one of the agencies down in Hampton, they're the ones that pushed us for 20 years to do something like this. You know, if you only have one death in a year and you pay out 2,000, you know, you can kind of account for that during the year. But if you have a year that, you know, 3 or 4 people get hurt in a year or pass away, and, you know, obviously it's harder to pay out whatever you were to budget on your own out of budget to do that. It takes out having to, I mean, if you need to decide, was this an accident, was it not, if you're going to do a higher benefit or just for a death, a different benefit, you know, the claims form comes to us, the death certificate comes to us, and then they take it and they handle making sure that if it's this level benefit, it gets taken. I'll be honest with you, they've added in the seatbelt and the airbag thing in the last year, and they didn't tell us. And I mean, you know, I kind of thought, I get the same thing that y'all have, and I kind of thought everything was still the same, and it kind of shocked us when we figured out that now they've added in the airbag and the seatbelt. So, and you do get the extra stuff. So if you did need it, the employee assistance, and the town may have an employee assistance line, but this is just another avenue that you get with it. And you do get that, it's called MedEx travel benefit, where they would take care of some, if you were out of country, some legal services if you needed it, some incidental medical if you needed it out of country, because like again, you know, Blue Cross Blue Shield's not going to be set up with a hospital somewhere else out of country or something. So you do get a few extra things put in with it too. And then it just leaves, all you have to do is just make sure about 3 months before it renews, I'll contact you, and we just update the census, take off the people that are no longer qualified, put on the people that are qualified, and it's just a seamless situation.
Any comments, Chief?
I guess the main reason we're pushing for this is the volunteers don't get much for their service. And that, you know, pray we never have a line of duty, but that's the only thing that the volunteer gets if they do die. And line of duty can take months to year for payout, because you've got to prove a lot of stuff for a line of duty payout. I almost want to expand this a little bit further to a life member that's been on this organization for 30 years, that we could consider paying for it even if they're not active. Of, you know, you devoted 20 years or 30 years or 40 years to our organization and the town.
You're a life member, but they're not active.
They're
So
not
is this 47, that's your active members? Is that what this quote was based on? The 47?
We're 55 probably.
Okay, but that's active, but you would like to kind of,
If not, like when this starts,
okay,
I'm not gonna prorate, so,
right.
you know, just something, right now, you get somebody that serves 20, 30 years, thank you for your service. Go home.
Here's a T-shirt.
Yeah, you know, there's nothing that says continued, thank you for your service to the town. Now, obviously, it's not gonna benefit them,
Yeah.
but, you know, that family put up not sleeping with that individual for 20, 30 years when the call goes off. for $129, we've had 2 deaths. I wanna say Jimmy Ragsdale and Buzz Bryant were the most recent. Doug Webb. I mean, it's not,
How many life members do you have, like on your
14.
14? Oh, so that's not.
And that's
You would
time
like to-
earned. That's not easy time. Nothing with the fire service is easy.
Right, so
Nothing.
once they're life members, but they're not active, I mean, they're not covered under your line of duty, they're not, so we added the accidental, didn't we add the extra life insurance on the new accidental?
On the Hartford program, there is, and I can't tell you how much, but that would be strictly line of duty.
Correct, and that goes with the same stipulations,
Yeah.
but, right, but once they're not active, that's it.
that's it.
Mhm.
Buzz Bryant died not associated with line of duty. Jimmy Ragsdale had brain cancer and died not associated with line of duty. Doug Webb had colon cancer, not line of duty. So, it's great to know that you have that line of duty benefit. And, I mean, for me, it does. I have plenty of life insurance and 401s. My kids will be very happy. But that 18-year-old or 20-year-old that probably doesn't even consider life insurance and the parents aren't worried about it and they hit a tree,
Yeah,
there's nothing.
right.
And there is a feature built into this too, so like if you have a member who leaves, but they recognize how important this is, I mean, obviously, they're not gonna get it for $129 because it becomes a different type of life insurance. But because they were already qualified under this, they can, on their own, go out and convert it to a standalone policy that they could do on their own. So it builds that knowledge of what life insurance can do for you.
So if they were to leave the fire department, no longer volunteer or life member,
Yeah,
they could contact
They could
you.
contact us and we could get them set up through that and fill out the paperwork so they could have their own life insurance policy. It'd be much more than $129, but
But if
still.
we consider them a life member on our.
Oh, yeah, if they're a life member, then they fall under the membership.
I think it sounds like a pretty good.
Sounds good.
And you haven't had an increase in 6 years, you said, right?
No increase other than when it went from like 127 to 129 when they added, they aligned with that employee assistance program and built that into the program. So it wasn't because the rate went up, it's because they expanded the
Do
program.
they base your rates on a pool? Do they base it on everybody you've got under this plan, or are they gonna look it up? That's what the-
No, it's based on the whole pool, because believe me, I probably, and I don't know, I might have like $50,000 in premium a year from various accounts of this throughout the state. And, I mean, now this is over 6 years we've been doing it, but we've paid out a couple $100,000, few $100,000. I mean, we've paid out a lot more than we've taken in, and they've never adjusted the rates. It's based on the entire countrywide pool, because this is a nationwide program that they're doing.
This is just for firefighters?
This particular program is for fire and rescue personnel. Right.
We saved over 10,000.
We did. Cause I think what we saved over 10,000 on the, auto policy. And so we were trying to, he had told us about this back when we were researching. And so we were just trying to, he had the money in the budget to do it in December. And I wanted to keep his policies renewed at the same time, but I understood and we needed to research it more, so, that's why we said we'll just stick it in the budget and do it July 1. I mean, I'm fine. I mean, it's still 12 months coverage, but if you guys are okay with it, or if you had any questions, or.
I think it's a good deal.
If you think you want a July 1st date, I mean, I know however y'all vote,
Would you do January to December?
we can do it any way you want it, but I would just say if for y'all's budget purpose, you want it to be July 1st effective, just let me know. We'll sign the application after y'all vote on it in June so I can send it up for it, because they have to have the application in the month prior to when it goes effective. It's a crazy way they do things, but if I send it in July, it's going to end up being an August 1st renewal. So if we send it up, you'll you'll end up with your July
Well,
first day.
I would like to kind of do it like the health insurance, where I have to let them know by
Right.
April, so then they have the list of names and they know
Right.
what enrollment is, and then so we already have that all set in place
Yeah.
for whatever start date. I mean, I don't mind starting it whenever you guys want to, because like I said, your budget covered, you know, that higher expense, and we saved on it when we, but it's completely up to y'all, but I'm okay with that. If we can get approval and go forward with it, I'd definitely get it to you, probably the same schedule I do with start date, July, whenever you guys wanna do it.
I make a motion, we go ahead and present this to full council for approval.
Second.
And that's for the active and life members?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And so, I'll just use his figure and tabulate up it.
Yeah, our membership is capped at 60. So
Okay.
even at 60, you're $7,700, you're still
Right,
cheaper than what we were paying just for automobile insurance.
right. Okay.
Sounds good.
So, meeting is adjourned at 18:25.
I'm gonna have to leave